The Cat 988 has been the default wheel loader at quarries across North America for over 40 years. From the 988B that ran through the late 1970s and 1980s to the Cat 980H that dominated every major aggregate operation on the continent, this machine set the standard for production loading. 24 tons of payload per cycle, a Cat C18 engine pushing over 500 horsepower, and a dealer network that could get parts to any quarry floor in the country within 48 hours. If your pit moved rock, you ran a Cat 988. That was the rule from Decatur, Illinois, where Cat builds its large wheel loaders, all the way to the iron ore operations of the Pilbara. But across Sweden, Norway, and the aggregate quarries of southern Germany, operators stopped buying Cat wheel loaders entirely, and the reason had nothing to do with horsepower. To understand how Caterpillar lost the wheel loader cabe, you have to go back to the 1980s and 1990s, when the Cat 988 was the only serious conversation at North American quarries. The Cat 988B sat at the center of every aggregate operation from the late 1970s through the mid-1980s. Then came the Cat 988F in the late 1980s, with better hydraulics and a wider cab. Then the Cat 988G in the late 1990s, which became the production standard at quarries across North America and Australia. Each generation carried incremental improvements, but the core formula never changed. A massive front-end loader built around brute force, a planetary transmission, and a cab designed for one purpose: moving rock into haul trucks faster than anything else on the market. Cat built these machines at its Aurora, Illinois plant for decades before consolidating large wheel loader production to Decatur, Illinois. In Australia, the Cat 988G loaded iron ore across the Pilbara. In the American Midwest, the Cat 988H fed crushing plants from sunup to sundown. Every major quarry operator in the English-speaking world ran Cat wheel loaders because Cat wheel loaders were what quarry operators ran. Nobody questioned it. Nobody had a reason to. The first crack appeared not in North America, not in Australia, but in the Nordic countries, where a different manufacturer had been building wheel loaders since the 1830s. Volvo Construction Equipment, headquartered in Eskilstuna, Sweden, traces its roots back to a mechanical workshop founded by Theofran Munkil in 1832. That workshop became a tractor factory, then an earth-moving equipment manufacturer, and eventually the wheel loader division of the Volvo Group. The Volvo L150 and Volvo L180 were already the standard at Swedish quarries by the early 1990s. In Norway, Finnish Lapland, and across Denmark, the Volvo L-Series was the loader that every quarry operator grew up running. One operator from Northern Europe put it simply: he had never seen a Caterpillar wheel loader anywhere in the Nordic countries, not at a quarry, not at a construction site, not on a single job across Scandinavia in his entire career. That was not a failure of Cat marketing or Cat pricing. The Volvo L150 and Volvo L180 had been purpose-built for Scandinavian conditions, Scandinavian winters, and Scandinavian operator expectations. And what those operators expected from a wheel loader cab was fundamentally different from what Cat was delivering out of Decatur. The difference starts with the controls. Cat's approach to the wheel loader cab centered on its STIX system. Steering, direction, and gear selection all fed through a single joystick mounted on the left armrest of the Cat 988K and Cat 988GC. It was efficient, it was clean, and for operators who grew up in Cat cabs, it made perfect sense. But for operators coming from other machines, or operators who simply preferred a different control layout, the Cat STIX joystick was the only option. You sat in a Cat 988K cab, and you ran Cat's control layout, full stop. Volvo took a different approach with the Volvo L150H and Volvo L180H. Volvo let operators configure their control setup to match their own preferences. You could choose your joystick layout. You could adjust how steering, bucket, and boom functions were mapped across your controls. One operator described it this way: in a Volvo cab, you choose the layout that works best for you. In a Cat cab, you work with what Cat gives you. That distinction sounds minor on paper. Over a 12-hour shift at an aggregate quarry, it is the difference between a machine that fits your hands and a machine that forces your hands to fit it. The cab itself widened that gap. Volvo's H-Series wheel loaders featured a sloped hood that dropped the front profile below the operator's sightline. When a Volvo L150H operator looked forward through the windshield, the hood fell away and the quarry floor opened up in front of the bucket. The Volvo L150H cab gave the operator a clear view of the pile face, the truck bed, and the ground between the loader and the haul truck. CAT's wheel loader hood sat flat and high, blocking a portion of the operator's forward view. The CAT 980M operator had to compensate with head movement and mirror checks that the Volvo operator never needed. Over a 12-hour shift running V-pattern loading cycles into haul trucks, that difference in forward visibility added up. Operator fatigue climbed faster in the CAT cab. Operators who ran both machines back-to-back at the same quarry said the Volvo cab felt like it was designed around the person sitting in it, while the CAT cab felt like it was designed around the engine underneath it. That operator preference started showing up in purchasing decisions at midsize operations across Western Europe. At recycling yards and aggregate sites across Germany, the Netherlands, and the United Kingdom, the CAT 980M started losing specifications to the Volvo L150H. Scrapyards and waste handling facilities run wheel loaders hard, often 16 hours a day in tight spaces with constant repositioning. The work is relentless. Push into a pile of scrap steel, fill the bucket, swing 90 degrees, dump into a shredder feed, back up, repeat. All day, every day. Operators at these sites cared less about peak payload and more about cab comfort, control precision, and forward visibility across a full shift. The Volvo L150H delivered on all three. The CAT 980M kept losing bids at German recycling facilities and Dutch aggregate yards where the operators, not the purchasing department, made the final equipment decisions. If you are watching this video and you want to see more breakdowns of how European manufacturers are challenging Caterpillar across every machine category, subscribe to this channel. We cover heavy equipment the way operators talk about it, with real model numbers, real specs, and zero marketing spin. The displacement did not stop at mid-size loaders. At the mining class, where CAT's 990K and 992K had dominated for decades, Volvo's L260H and L350 started winning specifications at operations that had run nothing but yellow iron for 20 years. The Volvo L350 was already a serious machine. Then at ConExpo 2026 in Las Vegas, Volvo unveiled a significant upgrade. The new Volvo L350 arrived with a Volvo D17 engine delivering more power and up to 5% better fuel efficiency through wave piston technology. Higher torque at lower RPM, smoother operation at low speeds, faster boom cycle times. The Volvo L350 with its D17 engine was built to load haul trucks in mining applications where every cycle counted. At Nordic copper mines and Canadian gold operations, the Volvo L260H and Volvo L350 were already displacing CAT 990K and CAT 992K loaders. The ConExpo upgrade accelerated that shift. And then Tony Beets walked the Volvo booth. Tony Beets, the Gold Rush star who runs the Tamarack mine in the Yukon, walked the upgraded Volvo L350 at ConExpo 2026 in Las Vegas. Volvo filmed the walk-around and published it. Tony Beets standing next to the Volvo L350, inspecting the D17 engine compartment, asking questions about cycle times and fuel burn. In operator culture, where equipment decisions carry personal identity, a televised mining operator publicly engaging with a Volvo wheel loader instead of walking the CAT booth sends a specific signal. Tony Beets did not need to say he was switching. The fact that he was at the Volvo booth at ConExpo, looking at the Volvo L350, told the North American mining community everything it needed to hear. When the operators who watch Gold Rush every week see Tony Beets engaging with Volvo equipment, that changes conversations at mine sites across the Yukon, the Pacific Northwest, and the American Mountain West. Volvo also showed the next generation at ConExpo 2026. The Volvo L120 electric wheel loader arrived as a fully electric production machine, not a concept, not a prototype. This was a 22-ton wheel loader with a 6-ton lifting capacity, ready to ship. Ryan Williams, known as Mr. DigiG, published a walk-around of the Volvo L120 electric in January 2026. Same power as the diesel Volvo L120H, same payload capacity, same torque parallel linkage. A 282 kilowatt-hour lithium-ion battery system delivering 5 to 9 hours of runtime on a single charge depending on the application. Separate electric motors for propulsion and hydraulics, with energy recapture during braking that extends runtime and reduces brake wear. A 150 kilowatt DC fast charger can bring the Volvo L120 electric from empty to full in 2 hours. The Volvo L120 electric was already proving itself at waste and recycling applications in Europe, where its quiet operation and zero tailpipe emissions made it the preferred loader at urban recycling facilities. CAT's electric wheel loader program remained behind in commercial deployment. While CAT was still positioning electric loaders as future technology, Volvo was shipping the L120 electric to job sites. The dealer service question used to be the one argument that kept operators loyal to CAT wheel loaders. CAT's dealer network was the largest in the industry, and for decades that meant faster parts delivery, more service technicians on the ground, and shorter downtime windows than any competitor could match. If your CAT 988H threw a code at 2 in the morning, a CAT dealer technician was on site by sunrise. That reliability built loyalty that lasted generations, but operators started pushing back on that narrative. The complaint surfaced at quarries and mine sites across North America, and it was specific. CAT dealers had shifted toward a consulting-driven service model that prioritized analytics packages, telematics dashboards, and fleet management subscriptions over wrench-turning technicians who could rebuild a transmission on the quarry floor. Operators wanted someone who could fix the machine. They felt like CAT was sending someone who wanted to sell them a software package. Meanwhile, Volvo Construction Equipment, operating out of its global headquarters in Eskilstuna, Sweden, invested $40 million in its Shippensburg, Pennsylvania facility, bringing production of excavators and 4 large wheel loader models to American soil in early 2026. Volvo's North American dealer and service network was growing while CAT's was restructuring. The pattern across every machine size tells the same story. Midsize loaders at recycling yards in Germany went Volvo. Mining class loaders at Nordic copper operations went Volvo. Tony Beets walked the Volvo booth at Conexpo 2026 in Las Vegas. The Volvo L120 Electric arrived as a production machine while CAT's electric program lagged. And at quarry after quarry, the operators, the people who sit in these cabs for 12 hours a day, chose the Volvo L150H over the CAT 980. They chose the Volvo L350 over the CAT 992K. They chose the loader that let them configure their own controls over the one that told them how to work. This is not a story about one machine beating another on a spec sheet. This is a story about what happens when operators, not purchasing departments, start making the equipment decisions. If you want to see how the same pattern is playing out across excavators, haul trucks, and bulldozers, subscribe to this channel. Next week, we are covering another European manufacturer that is taking market share from Caterpillar in a machine category nobody expected.